Hi, everybody. It's JWoww of Planet JWoww. Good morning. Yeah, usually it's good night at 1 o'clock or 100. And I'm actually here in the daylight. Um, I plan on getting sun this year. I am pale for me. Um, seeing myself in the camera and going, it's a lovely shade of brown, and it's usually darker. Um, I'm here because I want to talk about this safety thing. So I'm good at keeping myself and the folks who are with me physically safe in different areas. Hey, Linda, good morning. Keeping folks safe in the arenas where I am. That, to the best of my ability, I'm going to be able to generate safety for a whole bunch of people, not everyone, for a whole bunch of people, because there's a general alignment around safety that comes for me out of a sense of service. And that's where a lot of people get like I feel that folks fall down because they forget the honor that it is to create safety. It's the honor when the honoring of the honoring about the opportunity to generate a reality for another being. When that's where we're focused, there's a sacredness that infuses itself into what we're doing. Or at least that's what I found to be the case for me. And that sacredness is what takes things from service to that sacred seva that gets talked about, of bringing the deference, the reverence, the honoring to the service that we do. It's the Jesus washing people's feet thing. And there's nothing wrong with feeling that Christ energy, that Jesus energy, we use the Israeli who is depicted as a surfer boy as the poster child for that which is good and caring and loving and inclusionary. And folks forget that this is the same guy who busted up a church, like straight up in the temple, pitched a nutty, went postal in a church because people were doing fucked up shit, and he wasn't going to have any. You're in a sacred place, treat it like that. So I'm taking that guy's lessons and applying them in my everyday to how I'm generating safety around learning for folks. Generating safety in every place is what allows great bridges to be built. Surfer dude Jesus, all you got to look at most is at the blonde hair, blue eyes. I got to see the original painting that started all that mess. If you read in the Bible, hair like lamb's wool, I don't know no straight-haired sheep. Okay? And he's Israeli in the desert. First of all, he's a boat builder. The boy was not anorexic like they have him up on the cross. He was ripped. He built boats. Right? And he was dark. He's in the sun, in the desert, in kind of Israel, and hanging out with, in the whole sort of Egypt-ness in terms of time. He was tan, he was dark, he had curly hair. It was probably brown or black. I doubt he had blue eyes. They don't do the blue eyes and sun and heat thing. They do the blue eyes and cold and sun thing. If it's heat and sun, it tends to be dark eyes. So there's just nothing about the anorexic surfer boy on a cross thing that has anything to do with what Jesus probably looked like. And I can make a hardcore right Christian, I can put them in the hospital when I say shit like that. And let's just get real about history. And so I'm looking at, what does it take to do that sovereign thing that Jesus did? And he did do it. Jesus and I are friends. I got to talk, multiple occasions have gotten to talk with him about this and what happens with his energies out in the world. And Out in the world, we're creating with our sovereignty, with our power. Power being defined as the ability to influence that which is not our isness. We pick up power on the humanality journey. We pick up power at the sovereign level. That sovereign level is where we can generate security for self and other. When you generate security, you de facto generate safety, because it goes from exiting to existing to survival to safety to security. And each one is built on the contiguous existence of the thing before it. So not dying at that exiting point, if you contiguously do that, you're existing. If you contiguously exist, you are surviving. You contiguously survive, you are safe. You contiguously are safe, you are secure. When you can contiguously, out of that place of power, the ability to influence that which is not our isness, which is what security is, safety, we're generating that contiguous existence for ourselves. At the security level, it goes beyond baseline existence and gets into, it's not luxury. It gets into opportunities and options at the security level. Oh, 111, fantastic. Yeah, dude's Middle Eastern. I'm just saying. And when we're able to generate those opportunities to explore new freedoms, when we're able to generate a structure such that some being that is not us has the experience of having freedom and opportunity and choices, that's when we're generating security for selves and other, and that sovereign behavior. And that's also the point in our growth, where we start expanding our energetics into tribe. Okay, that's where the tribality starts inside our own ego ecosystem. There go my ego. Our ego ecosystem. That safety generated by sovereignty has an alignment to it. You know, I haven't really talked about alignment in the humanality journey. All of the, it's in the code of the Wowdoms. Ride the resonance, carry this culture, feed our freedom, feed your freedom, feed our freedom. There's an our in the your. When, as a sovereign, I make a declaration for I'm making a declaration for all of us, because we're aligned and connected, When I'm standing in the sovereign spot, when I'm standing in the choice making about what reality is going to, with which reality we're going to engage together and separately in a realm has real in it. It's the real That's what a realm is. Oh, I love that. It's the real That's when you got a realm. That's when you got a place where you want to stay. It's got an aligned reality with which you resonate, that you can get all up in and feel. There's an hour in yours. They say there's no I in team. That's my problem with team. Also, please keep in mind, we live in a consent culture. Okay, a consent culture. Yep. Scribe, tribe, activate. It's Linda, fantastic. Yes, realm has real in it. In a consent culture, there's still a dominance on either side. It's the first place where there's the beginnings of a balance that comes from a dynamic equality. See, equality isn't a level playing field. That's part of the mistake. Beings are dynamic things. And so equality has a dynamism to it. Safety has a dynamism to it. And in a consent culture, what we're establishing, just like in consent, right? In a consent culture, there's that againstness. There's that nope wall that we come up against that's defining what our safety can be. It's consent to allow safety to occur and allow ourselves to accept the freedoms that come with that established safety from selves and other. It's the safety that is arbitrated by other that's underneath what we're talking about when we talk about consent. It's different than a welcome culture. We want you to come, we want you to be well, we want you to feel well, we want the invitation to be something that we do well. We want all of that to be true. In welcome, there's an opening. Consent does not say that I'm going to let you anywhere near my deep insides. It says that I'm going to allow you to put the thing in front of me and then I will make choices. I give consent. I give permission for this thing to be at the edge of what I say it's going to be. A welcome culture says, come in. You're welcome in. That's the beginning given is in. That takes feeling safe on both parts. Neither one of us is going to poison or kill the other. Welcome. Neither one of us is going to be stealing from the other. When welcome is negative and perverted, it becomes a trap. It's not welcome. It's coming to steal freedom. Gaslighting is an attempt to steal people's sense of freedom through use of weaponized spells known as words. When we look at the larger picture around the things that happen, when we take a look and we take time to look at the magic skin of the reality in which we live, that 4M reality of mainstream, mountain, and margin, that's wrapped in the skin of magic and the dynamism of magic and how they all flow together and what happens out of that, what happens in the toruses along their axes as they spin and come together, and where we place ourselves and how we dance in those different realms and arenas. All of that contributes to how safe we get to feel and how much freedom we get to feel. The freedom comes from being aligned with the safety of a space. Freedom comes when we're aligned with the safety of a space. Linda, remind me to come back to this, because a lot of what I want to share with people about thinking differently about safety so that they realize, like, a lot of it's here in this video already. This is the sovereignty part. Sovereign awareness from anyone. You get to the sovereignty part. You don't get to the sovereignty part because you're breathing. Just like you don't get to be an elder by breathing. Well, that's not true. If you breathe long enough, you get to be old. It doesn't mean that you get to be an elder in your tribe. There's a difference I have discovered. And I was thinking that when people were calling me an elder, they were calling me old. And I got pissed. First person who called me that, I almost spat at her. I was pissed. I know I can't run with y'all. I know I'm on a cane. I bring my own chair. I, try and take care of myself in the ways that I need. I don't go to places where I don't have what I need. I need a room. I need a flushing toilet. I need warmth. I need a good bed and a queen size one. These are needs. I will not function well. I will hurt if I don't have these things. And so rather than have people have to do makeshift things for me, I simply don't go places. And then there are folks who ensure that if I'm invited to a place, I get to feel safe. I get to feel secure. I get to feel like the sovereign that I am. They offer up an opportunity for me to bring the power of what it is that I do with words, how it is that we de-euphemize languaging, so that what's exposed is the nourishment at the core of the languaging, and we get to shed the divisiveness suit that languaging, that magic, those spells of words are at the core. I keep opening up to what's already there. It's a demystifying and resacralizing of the languaging of our everyday magic. That's what I'm going for. And the lovely thing about folks who did the Dungeons and Dragons thing and the magic thing and all of that, the lovely thing about the folks who did that is that I'm not weird to them. Like, the world got to catch up to what I was living in. And I was crazy when I was living Dungeons and Dragons and magic in my life. There's a certain level of naivete that people ascribed to me. And I don't just mean to Juju. Hey, Ryan. And I don't just mean to Juju. How can I believe the things that I believe? Well, I believe them because they're there. They're real to me. They're part of my reality. And what I discovered is that in the process of helping other people get to open to an aligned and similar reality, it turns out that our harmonic resonances can become symphonic resonances. Thank you, Ronnie Jean Andrews Neal. It can be alignments that do the interweaving, the grow weaving in different places, and yet together in forms of beauty. It's when you cross the streams of colors when you're painting to make this event that happens where the two of them come together. You get that yellow, you get that blue, you get that green thing happening. That's what we're doing. We're celebrating. It's a math game, folks. It's the bake two cakes era for me. I can have my cake and eat it too. I do it all the time. Look at me. Do I look like I'm not eating cake? And I don't even just mean my size, because regardless of what size I am, look at this grinning face. Okay, I'm eating cake. I'm eating cultural cake 25/8. Okay, I am. I'm baking it. I'm eating it. I'm sharing it. It's great. Part of why I get to do that is because I've created a realm with the real woven into it, right? The real, that's a realm. When you find a real that you just love, right? That you put the in that, you want to hang out in that. That's your realm. Okay. I've been finding all this negativity and divisiveness woven into the languaging that the entire world speaks in their own languages. It's almost as if the languages are dialects of divisiveness, the way they've been set up. And that didn't make sense to me. That's a very negative view. That's a lens stack that on one hand gave me the ability to pull things open, to look at the meanings inside the words and how did the meanings weave together, not simply the words. And then why were those particular words and combinations of letters, the magic sigils of the alphabet, why were they put together for this particular meaning? How did that come about? And then what do we get to do now? See, people stop at, oh, well, that's the etymology. And so that's how it was. That's how it shall be forevermore. Okay, kiss my ass on that shit, right? What things were before applied in cultures and ecosystems that many of which no longer exist. So being in this place now, where out of being adaptable, out of being awake, out of accelerating and amplifying how it is that we process the data of our culture, gives us the opportunity. How we parse that Inclusion and exclusion are also very subtle. They're not simply a note wall of yes, this, and no, that, because that's one piece. Then there's maybe. There's yes, this over there, as opposed to right here. All of those are subtle forms of yes and no. Right now, the polarization of how folks think, the way media wants to set up our synapses so that all that we have is psychological fight or flight. All we have is I'm terrified of that which is new, that would have me think differently, that would have me unravel anything in my world because my world feels precarious. And my world feels precarious because the very people who are telling me that I can't unravel it are the people who are feeding me the fear that has me afraid of my own life. That's how a lot of people are living at this point. That is hard. And I'm sorry. And it doesn't have to be like that. And it's not that it's a choice in the way that we normally think of choice. It's not like people don't know to not do certain things in order to not be influenced. If you're watching the news 2, 3, 4 hours a day, stop it. Unless that's your job, unless you're political, unless you need to know what certain things are. And by the way, you can get concentrated true news by doing your homework on Google at this point. Or hell, on Facebook, people posting what's really going on places. TikTok. The news as it stands in that 24-hour cycle of keeping people's adrenaline going, that sensationalized snippets of horrors that are meant to titillate and draw us in and then hook us. Because we get off on the adrenaline. It keeps us awake at night. News at 11 o'clock. Really? Why are you telling me news at 11 o'clock? Go to bed. Let me sleep. They have set people up to feel like they're missing out. There's this addiction to wanting to know just things, whether they're useful or not in our worlds. We simply need to know. We need to see that episode of whatever the show is because everybody's going to talk about it. And I don't care about being diligent and obsessed about the show. Have you met me? Lord have mercy. I literally would record Beauty and the Beast and then watch it on VHS 30 times before the following week because that was my homework. They put a whole bunch of lessons in Beauty and the Beast in the 80s. Whole bunch of how to be a better human lessons. And so I studied. I didn't rely solely on people who were going to sell me my better self. I don't want people to rely on me that way. I want people to choose to be better beings and include me in the roots of their growth. Imitation is the highest form of flattery, and it's shallow. Mimicry is the highest form, the most robust form of emulation. Mimicry and living. There's something in that phrase. I'm in the ballpark of Wildem right there, just to note. Cheers. I've been doing this thing where I've been putting stevia in my raw agave, and I'm used to the taste, and I like it, which surprises me. Also means I'm using less agave, and the sweetness factor is far less. I can feel less of the hooking into my sweetness, when I'm drinking my coffee. So, cheers. The safety course is coming at safety from a place of when we surrender to our own power, that's when we get to become sovereign. Because surrender is taking something that you have and giving it up and over to another something. another space, another person, another being, another something, a deity, an altar. That's surrender. And it's surrendering into a place of that thing having power over us. Power being defined as the ability to influence that which is not our isness. So the ability to influence that which is not our isness in a way that has a dynamic that's a power gradient, where one person has more power than the other, and that more power is over, arbitrates the reality of the other being. Power over means arbitrating, being the arbiter of another person's, another being's reality. And when we look at it that way, the power over doesn't need to be bad. A surgeon has power over us when they've got us cut open. I want them to. I want them to take all that knowledge, all of that schooling, all of that care, all of that, Hippocratic oath, all that mess. I want them to pour all of that into that hand that slices me open. They have power over me. They have life and death power over me. It's why so many doctors have a God complex. They have power of life because no one taught them, their egos, how to manage what it takes to have power over and be in the place of being in service, in sacred service to other. Because inside sacred service, there's a limnoscate of learning. It's not a one-way deal. To me, a great sovereign, not a good one, not a decent one, not a mediocre one, not a shitty one, a great sovereign is listening to their people and then guiding the future as people move with them, trust them to guide them. We're guiding our people into alignment, both with the vision itself that's moving us forward and with each other along the axes of the bridges between each other, along our resonances. Folks who follow us are following our resonances. They're going, I resonate with you. I'm in sync with you. This is really wonderful. I get to be with you. Yay, us. As Juju says, yay, us. Yay, us. We didn't throw our energies under the bus. Yay, us. Yay, us. We putting all our energies onto the bus. That's what she sings. It's brilliant. Yeah, that. So we ride the bus together, and sovereigns get to pick where we're going and the caliber of the bus. Sometimes it's fun to be on a ramshackle bus and everybody knows how to fix something. In between all of you, you got a bus that works and it's held together with love and duct tape and maybe some gaffer's tape and some super glue and some rubber bands, okay, and some gum, okay, and that's getting the bus rolling forward. Yay, us. Right? The magic JWoww bus, the JWoww bus, right? Joy, wisdom, opportunity, and wonder, the JWoww bus. It's rolling forward on that. I get the honor of being one of, not the, one of the sovereigns of planet JWoww. I've got I'm in charge of the planetary thing, the planetary vision. Folks are in charge of their individual realms, right? The magic JWoww bus. I like that. Somebody draw me that. Somebody make a video of the magic JWoww bus, right? Like take me out of the videos and put me in a bus and the magic JWoww bus. The magic JWoww bus, that's one of my podcasts. All right. I want these different places where people can come find me being in my different realms, right? Give you a fee. Give me a fee. I don't know what that means. Give you a few. Okay, right. Yes. Linda, by the way, has a business making the memes for Planet JWoww and for other folks, and she's available to do that for folks who aren't able or willing to do their own memes. I'm eventually going to get Planet JWoww glasses from the people who made these. You see that? The Urban Bliss Shaman. That's my logo for being the Urban Bliss Shaman, which I am. Thank you, Rory McCracken. And I'm going to get these with the planet JWoww on them. It turns out that these are good. These help make your eyes stronger. They're Bates glasses, right? They're pinhole glasses. So you wear them for half an hour and your eyes get stronger. In my ophthalmologist can't figure out why my eyes have blue rings, which are an indication of major cataracts, and yet I don't have the cataracts and I see just fine, and my eyes are strong, and I'm 62 and they're not getting any worse. Thank you, May. Right? My eyes aren't getting any worse. I'm living the thing that, like, when people are like, oh man, I wish I could live your life. And I'm like, first of all, no, you don't want to live my life. My life is just made out of a whole bunch of nightmares. What you're saying that you don't know that you're saying is that you wish that you could live the really cool things that I learned out of my life that I'm sharing with you. Yes, please. And there are ways to get there that don't involve, rape and guns and the other things that made me this. They involve like nice things. I love seeing people soar with the moju sins that come through and out of what I've composted out of my life. I said something last night. I said, from nightmares to nourishment to nirvana. That's my trajectory. Thank you, Rainey Ford. That's my trajectory of growth out of my nightmares and into power. I'm at a place where I can offer nourishment because I've been fed. I'm not offering from a place of scarcity anymore. Literally up until a few months ago, everything that I was doing, I knew that I needed to do it. I knew that I was not doing it as well as I could. I knew that I was operating from a place of scarcity. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to come from scarcity. And yet it was either come from scarcity and do the thing or don't do the thing and wait to get out of the scarcity. I didn't wait. That felt really amazing to move myself forward by offering what I have in its raw state and knowing that it's going to get changed and fixed at some point. I'll be on my wobble board. I'm on my mat. The things I do for taking care of myself. I've got my wonderful mat, right? I want these people to sponsor me. Like the things that I use, straight up. I want a cadre of people who love contacting folks and making connections. And I want to teach y'all you're coming. I can feel you coming. I don't know when you're going to get here, but I can feel you coming. And I want to teach you this languaging of inclusion, welcome, and empowerment. And then have you use it to have people feel wonderful about taking care of us using the things that are precious to them. That's what I want. And we can do that. And it'll be fun. It'll be great. And in the meantime, I'm on my wobble board. And I want the wobble board people to sponsor me. I want them to give me license to send wobble boards to certain people as rewards. Like the wobble board, the thing I love about the wobble board, hold on a second. Let me show you my wobble board. Maybe I can. My floor. Yeah, hold on. Here's my wobble board. Right? Here's my wobble board. That's what I'm doing. All right. And it literally stretches out my hips. Oh, and my sides. I do it like this and stretch out my sides. I do it like this and stretch out my hips. And I dance to the music. And I walk around with the wobble board. Right? And it works on my core. It's great. And as I drop more weight, I've already dropped 40. As I shed more weight, I want to be on the wobble board more. I want to be standing more. I'm really enjoying doing Facebook Live standing. So there'll be more of that. And I'm doing more Facebook Lives. Anything that I can do to feed fun into the Facebook Live doing this, I'm doing that because I want to pull myself forward. What I'm pulling myself forward into is a new safety time and time again. So I'm exercising my power. Power being defined as the ability to influence that which is not our business. Say it with me, beloveds. Power being defined as the ability to influence that which is not our business. It takes the sting and the trauma out of the definition of power so that we can claim it without worrying about whether or not we are poisoning ourselves with power. That we have literally been gaslit by our culture to divide us away from ourselves and the harmonies that are possible there, and our power, our innate power. The languaging is designed specifically to divide us from that. And it claims that it's in the name of protection of some kind. That's that patriarchal claim of protection. I will divide. The penetrative culture says, I will divide you away from things. I will divide you away from horror. I will divide you away from hurt. I will divide you away from hope. I will divide you away from your power. I will divide you away from those things that would feed your sovereignty, which would mean that you would go someplace else, take your assets of your life someplace else so that I'm not able to feed on them when I'm counting on feeding on them and you just giving them to me without any acknowledgement of how wonderful a gift that is from me, so that there's feeding that's going back and forth. Sometimes the best answer to generosity, the most aligned answer in a realm of care and reciprocity, sometimes the most aligned answer to generosity is no, thank you. That's really wonderful. And I know that you can afford it. And I know that you're coming from a place and I need to learn things on my own. Or it would be really lovely. There are these people that I know of in my reality who would take what you're giving me that I will use decently and they will use it well, and all of it. Could you please, on my behalf, so that you're honoring me? I get the honoring of your wanting to gift me. Thank you so much. I totally will take that in. Now, would you please give what you were going to give me to this other being so that they can get even more than I would out of your generosity? Yay, us. Yay, us. We didn't throw our energies under the bus. Yay, us. Yay, us. We're putting all our energies onto the bus. I love that little song. This safety talk, I'm going to do a Joao talk instead of a TED talk. And I'm going to do a Joao talk about safety. And I'm thinking I'm going to get some other people to get in here and talk about their thoughts about my thoughts about safety. There we go. That's what I want to do. I want to do a series. If you know somebody that you think would be great to talk about this, I would love to set up I guess that's a video cast. Oh yeah, that's another thing. All right, so raising $20,000. For $20,000, there is a company that not only will do everything for me, they'll train me on how to do podcasts and video casts. They'll make sure that I have the right equipment. They'll make sure that everything's set up. All I need to do is talk. They will take it. They will turn it into the video cast and the podcast. They will make the landing pages. They will do all the things. They will cut out the snippets so that people can see it. All the polished stuff that a whole bunch of people need, both from the mountain, the mainstream, and the margin. In order to feel the magic, they need a certain level of polish. They don't need this. They don't want to see my room and how I live in my lab. I live in my, it's a laboratory and a cave laboratory, right? It's where I live. It's where things happen. It's where I'm not tripping people out by having all my stuff out so that I can see it and process it all at once. In this, there's serial processing, there's parallel processing, there's matrix processing, there's gestalt processing, there's epiphanic processing. I'm an epiphanic processor. And so not only am I taking the things that are in my realm right now, I'm taking those and then I'm grabbing a whole bunch of other stuff that goes with that and processing all of that all at once. And I realize that what I'm doing now with these Facebook Lives is I'm doing the dump. I'm putting all the things. The people who are following either in steps asynchronously or are with me and following as I go along, you are choosing this calibration. We are calibrated by each other, not programmed. We're calibrated by each other because we have agency around what we're taking in. Now, sometimes there are specific people where I'm like, I'm not looking for calibration. I'm looking to wholeheartedly, completely, whole hog, whole cloth, swallow, absorb, be entered by, take in anything that an inness can happen. Please have that happen with this particular thing that you are and or do. And that's a programming. Now, since I've originally surrendered to myself, I learned that with Ronnie Jean Andrews Neal. I learned that through JCAT. I learned that through, Clearwater. I learned to surrender to myself first, to take the best of what I have, give that to the me that is moving forward, and then work on actively composting into nutrients that get set forward, that are available for mid-air refuelings and what have you. Anything that did not work out of my own past, I've learned to do that for myself, surrender to my own power, surrender to my own strength, help myself move forward with that, and then feed myself. It's called being self-sufficient. It's the same thing as an astronaut suit. They stick a tube up your ass and a tube up where you pee, and you've got a thing that can get you nutrients to your mouth that you can control from the inside, and then they throw your ass out in the middle of vacuum in the middle of a mobile tank called, your spacesuit. And they recycle your shit for water. Like, they manage all of that in the suit. It's kind of like, the technological Ouroboros. The Ouroboros, for me, and for those who are doing the joy, wisdom, opportunity, and wonder lens stack, filter stack, for what it is that they're doing with their lives, because it like from up here, it looks like going in a circle. From living it, it's a spiral. It looks like a circle. It's a spiral. And it's a spiral into our roots and out into our branches and out in, all the directions, where we get to feed from and on ourselves the parts that don't work, so that they get processed and composted into fuel for how we move forward. That's the cycle that has roots to shoots. That's how that works. And that's what we're doing with our lives. That's what I'm doing with my life. That's what I'm modeling for people who are near me to do with their lives. They're choosing to learn how to do that. So I'm sharing with the world. And one of the most critical things about that is safety, is understanding that structure creates freedom. Structure arbitrates freedom. So this sovereignty course helps people learn how to arbitrate freedom and a sense of freedom, because you can have freedom and not have a sense of it. Ask anybody who's terrified of being in public places. They can be in a police station and be terrified. Now, me in a police station, I'm a Black woman in America. If I'm in a police station, we have a bigger set of problems. And being terrified about being in wide open spaces, not knowing what's coming. Whereas for me, I'm at Burning Man, and as far as I can see, there's nobody. I'm in my bliss. That's safety to me. There's a structure that holds everything at bay. And as long as I'm not looking at it, and it's not near me, and it's not in a place where it can hurt me from far away, those are the factors. And if all those are true, I'm feeling safe. I'm sensoriating the freedom that safety brings. That safety comes out of structure. And what we've done in our defining of safety is create a structure out of the sovereignty, so that we're building in the ability to create structure for ourselves and other. And we're going to dive into how you can do that anywhere. Do it inside ourselves. Part of what gives me the strength and confidence to get on this camera when I am super shy and constantly wondering whether or not stumbling on my words, constantly wondering whether or not I have something to contribute to people. That's this constant fear that I'm not making sense, or it's not the time, or it's not going to be useful, what have you. And then I let that go, and I surrender to myself, and I step into my sovereignty, and I choose to believe the folks who tell me that I am valuable, that what comes through me is valuable, and that what will be valuable will be for me to share where I am. So I share where I am, and folks are starting to listen, and they're starting to share. I'm letting folks know how to take care of me. How to take care of me is to share my videos, share them everywhere. If you are resonating with them, the way that we ride the resonance together is we make sure that there are others who are with us riding the ride. We take on, at least folks who are with me, I'm asking you to take on being accountable for bringing as many of your beloveds with you on your calibrative growth ride. Bring the folks that resonate with you. This is how we build a global culture together. That sets me up to be fed for bringing what I'm bringing. It sets you up to be fed because you've got people with me. That's why I say to folks, I look forward to the day when there's some sort of counter that tells me the number of watch parties. I like smaller numbers on my screen because any one of those numbers can be 10 people watching on a screen, taking notes, learning, throwing back questions, being active in and proactive in how we work with what's coming through me. It's data that my isness has parsed into something along which we can align together and figure out what to do with it, because it's pretty magical stuff. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm inviting you to play with me. I don't need your help. I want your flow-laboration. I want your delight and bliss. I want your brain blissing with me. I want your reveling in my growth in a way where you're imprinting my delight in my growth so that you have that experience of a different kind of delight in your own growth. The goal is to have y'all delight in yourselves. And the most fundamental piece of that after existence and survival is getting to safety. The survival thing, I'm not helping folks with that. There are folks who can help you figure out your existential crisis and how to survive out of that. When you've got the survival thing down, and you're ready to experience the nuances of safety, this is where we start working with the nuances of safety so that we can build safety just about anywhere. So I'm going to talk about that in a free talk. If there's anybody out there who's got a following, whether you have a following or not, if you want me to let you know when it is that I'm going to do this course, I'm going to do it soon. I'm going to do it in May. And so I'm announcing it now. And I'm also going to send out early a letter inviting people to let their folks know about the free talk that I want to do, because I want to give out a whole bunch. I want to share a whole bunch of what it is that will have people feel safe, that's easy to do, whether they get the languaging of Liwi or not, whether or not they're studying this, doesn't matter, because we're capable of understanding the fundamentals of structure and freedom and choice and accountability and reciprocity and sharing. Like, all of those are fundamentals that at any level we can understand, and we can put them together in a way that does create structures that make freedom more likely to occur, that make safety more likely to occur. And then there's a course that dives into that more, and then there's a long form, clinic across months and months where people dive into the nuances of safety and then hopefully move on to Rainey Ford's guardianship course. Because now you've got the fundamentals of safety. Reciprocity, it's basically reciprocity with the CA in front of it, and it also is care. I've got a meeting in 5 minutes to meet with Beloveds on Planet, Joe Evans and Linda Bonner, because they're helping Penny build out her marketing for her positive venting for clarity. Like, we have some cool shit. For 30 minutes, for $50, you get 30 minutes with Penny, directly with Penny, my partner. Exactly. Reciprocity. Love it, Linda. The part of that time is venting. Part of that time is having an analysis happen and have feedback. And then you get from her something that's going to help lift you up at least a little bit with where you are. So that you're doing something, you're either composting something a little bit or lifting up a little bit or whatever the thing is that she does. Half an hour, $50, just that. It's real simple. Positive venting for clarity. You can't miss what it is. I want something like that for bragging for people. And there are guidelines for how to brag well. And once I have those, which I hope to have this week, I want to do something similar. You know, mine's probably going to be more like $80 for half an hour. And I may just keep it at $50 and only do it for a short time. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So that it's really accessible to people. And, you know, I'd love for that to be booked. So I could do a bragging day. I'm making this up right in front of y'all. Okay, so I can do a bragging day, being real about greatness and goodness, about goodness and greatness, being real about goodness and greatness. So I could do a bragging day, and I can handle for half an hour. Yeah, I can probably handle 10 of those a day. So I do 10 a day. And I'll do one, day and do things in between because there's rest in between. There's half an hour and then there's downtime. And I'll do 10 of those a day and get that booked. And then, yeah, it's a day to be real about goodness and greatness. So bragging day. When do y'all want to have bragging day? I can't do a poll on StreamYard, but I'm wondering if I can do a poll in another way. I'd love to be able to just throw up a poll and see what people think. What day is it great to have bragging day? I want to have a bragging day during the week, and then I want to have probably Sunday mornings be a bragging day, or Sunday early afternoon, like from noon to 2 or 3. There'll be a short bragging period on the weekend. So there's a short bragging period on the weekend, and there's a day when people can sign up during the week. And I can get 10 or 12 of those in and have people get real about the goodness and greatness about what they've done. You tell me what you've done, and let's take a look at what's wonderful about that for you. And then let's celebrate that. And the only thing that I need is I have the right, if someone gets weird and uncomfortable for me, I have the right to say, I'm going to need to end this now. This doesn't feel aligned for me, and have people not be insulted. I will tell them what doesn't feel aligned, and then they can figure out whether or not they want to shift it. And it can be a mini lesson. And if they don't intend to shift it, or if they came to make me uncomfortable, then it's like, yeah, no. And so that gives me my sovereignty and my safety. And then I can do it, because I was thinking, I need to have it set up so that people let me know in advance so that I can. It's like, no, I don't want all of that. I want it to be super simple. I want it to be sign up and come. Random people. Let's see who gets called. Let's see what you bring to brag about. What is there out in the world? I want you to feel absolutely spectacular about what you're doing. Did you paint your kitchen and you've been meaning to paint your kitchen for the past 5 years? What did you love about it? Why was it amazing? Why did it make you feel so good? Please share that with me. Let me celebrate with you the magnificence of what you did. If you're somebody where you've got some debilitating thing going on and it doesn't feel appropriate to say to people, I had the best day. I got up under my own power. I used my crutches or I used my cane, and I walked myself to the bathroom and walked myself back. I get that. You can brag about that. And I will celebrate that with you because I know exactly what that's like. There you go. Yeah, it's noon. All right, because Linda's one of the people. All right. Positive Venting for Clarity, and actually positiveventingforclarity.com is available. So I'm going to head over to my meeting, and thank you, everyone. And I'm going to come back at some point today or tomorrow and talk more about the safety in, all the nuanced stuff. And then I'll be able to refer people back to this who actually take the course. So there we go. This will work well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to do the 24-second prayer. So let's do that. All right, here we go. We are praying. We are praying. We are calling. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. We're calling for those who resonate. We're calling for those who are ready. We're calling to those who are aching to grow, to surrender to their own power, and have that surrendering to their own power make a massive difference in the world, and have that be the reality that we are playing with, that we're in. That's what we're doing. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm JWoww of Planet JWoww, and we are a tribe-sourced human. This is our legend and legacy that we're building together. Sweet ones, thank you so much. Sticking to it. Until soon. Bye-bye now.